Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we are talking about Batman Arkham Origins.
Batman Arkham Origins. This is in real life it is technically the third in the Arkham series. It is a prequel in the story. It comes before any of the others. And it was made by Warner Brothers Montreal, if I'm not mistaken, developed it. And basically what they did was they took Batman Arkham City, the formula for that game, and moved the timeline backwards and put it practically at the beginning of Batman's career. And they added a few new things to the series, but the main thing they added that I personally found to be very exciting was a multiplayer mode. I appreciated that this company took, I want to say, big leaps. Whether or not they succeeded commercially or critically, I respect Batman Arkham Origins for everything that it stands for in the series.
I um, I thought it was good. I think it's like I don't know what the right. Like I think it's very, when it came out, reviews for it were not great. And I just feel like this game gets a lot more hate than it deserves.
I was
Um,
gonna say, I believe if you ask most Arkham fans will say that Arkham Origins is their least favorite. They just think it's like they think it's a bad game and it's so much worse by a large margin, but that's just not the case.
no, I mean it's like 100%. It was absolutely a cash grab by Warner Brothers. Because there was a longer gap because between Asylum and City it was only 2 years, but then Arkham Knight was obviously taking at least double that time, and so they wanted to have an Arkham game every 2 years. They made this. They gave it to WB Games Montreal. Very much, it was a cash grab. Like everyone knew it. I knew it, but like for WB Games Montreal basically being given this game and just having to make a game in an already very popular and very good series, I think I think they did fine. Like I would probably rate it as my least favorite game in the series, but it's not like I would say like if my favorite game was a 10 out of 10, this one would be like an 8.75 out of 10. Like it's not a bad game. It's just the worst to me. Like it just certain like silly things about it. Like it's not even like there's anything wrong with the game. There's just certain things that I laugh at when I play it that I just don't have that same thing with the others.
That's true. There's there was a bit more comedy maybe in the writing in this one. I mean, we'll get to it in the story. They do a lot of interesting things, but personally, I hold Arkham Origins above Knight and maybe tied with Asylum for second best. I feel like they're both excellent games, just missing that that shine that Arkham City had. You know,
I feel like this game is, if you're looking straight gameplay aspect, it's as good as Arkham City because they used Arkham City's combat system and engine, but it doesn't improve on it, which I feel like is one thing that like the sequel always has to be better. So the fact that it's as good is not good enough. And then I feel like people also just really dished and hated on the fact that there was a multiplayer component as well,
do
which
you
we'll talk
think
about the
that's why
multiplayer component
fans
later.
didn't like it? I thought fans were already disposed to dislike it because it wasn't Rocksteady and also because the Joker was in it again.
I think it's all of those reasons. Yeah, like I do think it was negatively affected by the fact that not only was the Joker in it, but it was the first appearance of the Joker that wasn't Mark Hamill. Um, like when Mark Hamill was quote unquote retiring from the character, and it's and like, yeah, I think people were like, they thought, okay, the Joker had his, grand finale in Arkham City, so obviously you don't want to do the Joker. And then, like, even I was mad at first when they had the Joker in it, and he was ended up being the main villain, because I was also like, oh well, he's, let's have something new. But then I think that did change when Arkham Knight came out, and I think just the entire Arkham series is about the relationship between Batman and the Joker. So, it fits a lot more to me in the series once Arkham Knight came out, and it turns out, oh, the Joker's a huge part of that game, even though he's already dead.
You're right. The um entire Arkham series is 100% a study on Batman and Joker's relationship. Which is why I'm extremely excited for Gotham Knights, which
Yeah,
is gonna be about the relationship, I'm assuming, between Batman and basically his kids, right?
I would assume so. Yeah, but yeah, that's a while off. Anyway, yeah, let's just move on into the setting. So the game takes place 8 years before the events of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. The map of Gotham here is split into two sections, Old Gotham and New Gotham, which are connected by Pioneer's Bridge. Pioneer's Bridge is its own section. But basically, Old Gotham is just Arkham City. It's Amusement Mile, the Industrial District, Park Row, the Bowery, with two kind of Jezebel Plaza, Sheldon Park, kind of like smaller areas included in that. And then there's New Gotham, which is Coventry, the Diamond District, and Burnley. It's,
Is
I mean,
that
it's
exactly the map from City?
um, Old Gotham is obviously, it's like, it's not the exact same, because like in Arkham City, like earthquakes had caused like a huge part of like the city to like flood and stuff, and obviously it's different, but yeah, it's basically that. Like, Old Gotham is Arkham City, and then they added New Gotham on top of that.
Right. This is also the first Arkham game that had the Batcave, right?
Assuming that
And
little secondary
you
Batcave in
saw
Arkham
Alfred
Asylum
in
did count.
person.
That is,
And no, that secondary Batcave does not count.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, this is the first one you see Alfred in person, but he looks weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like the design, but that, like, that's subjective. I'm not gonna knock a game for that.
Yeah, no, it's like a creative choice thing. And yeah, that's about it for the setting. Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah, the map is great, and the game takes place on Christmas Eve. So, it's Gotham in winter with the snow, and they do such a great job. I think it just looks so beautiful. They have lights and decorations up and Christmas trees around, pine trees. Um, and the snow, I just think it was well done. The animation of the snow when it hits Batman and his cape,
Yeah,
definitely underrepresented.
it's certainly rarer to see a game take place in winter. I feel like, especially because of the fact that snow is a bit harder to deal with. I would, someone who's never made a game, I would assume it's harder to deal with snow than typical like rain or anything like that.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess let's get into the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the story begins on Christmas Eve, like I said. Batman intervenes in a jailbreak at Blackgate Penitentiary, led by Black Mask. Black Mask is the main antagonist of this game. He executes Police Commissioner Loeb and escapes Blackgate at the beginning of the game. So left to battle the hired assassin Killer Croc, Batman prevails, but learns that Croc is the first of 8 of the world's deadliest assassins in Gotham City, vying to claim a $50 million bounty placed on Batman's head by Black Mask. So I actually I hate that Bane was the first assassin, because it wasn't even a real fight, because it was part of the tutorial.
You mean Killer Croc?
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. I do mean Killer Croc.
Like, you said Bane, and I'm like,
I
what?
know, I'm sorry. So yeah, I didn't like that, because I feel like it's kind of like easy way out of making another boss fight and another interesting assassin.
Yeah, I agree. I had thought like that Killer Croc. I mean, before the game, you knew he was an assassin, but it's like the way that he is presented in the game. It's like he's more like just like a bodyguard that you beat at first.
Right. It was like he was helping Black Mask escape. He was trying to escape also. It's not like he was trying to kill Batman. It's just weird there, like there's definitely some story beats that are missing.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, so hoping to learn Black Mask's location, Batman tracks the Penguin to his ship. There, he defeats the assassins Deathstroke and Electrocutioner and learns from the Penguin that Black Mask was purportedly murdered at an apartment complex. Batman investigates the murder scene, learning that the victim was not Black Mask and that the murder may have involved a criminal known as the Joker.
Right, so it's like you said, at this point in time, this is the first time that Batman's ever heard of the Joker. So they go through the whole thing where he's like, the Joker? Who do you think that could be? And at that point, that's when I'm rolling my eyes like, ugh, did we really have to do this part? Needing more information to solve the case, Batman breaks into the GCPD to access its National Criminal Database. While escaping, he encounters Captain James Gordon, who is distrusting of Batman, and the corrupt SWAT team, who hope to collect the bounty for themselves. That's true. I do like this part. The police being corrupt is not really a part of the Arkham series at all, and it's shown a lot in this game, and I enjoyed it because you do fight police in the GCPD. Of course, it makes sense in the later games because Batman has a long-standing relationship and they're friends. And I mean, at night, you just walk around the GCPD freely and look at the criminals you captured.
Yeah.
Anywho, following advice from Gordon's daughter, Barbara, Batman enters the sewers beneath the GCPD for permanent access to the database and finds Black Mask's crew planting explosives. Using the database, Batman deduces that Black Mask was kidnapped by the Joker, presumably to access the Gotham Merchants Bank. At the bank, Black Mask removes his disguise for Batman and reveals himself as the Joker. Having assumed Black Mask's identity several days prior, the Joker seized the criminal empire and imposed the bounty on Batman. Batman chases the Joker to Siona's steel mill, where he frees Black Mask and defeats the poisonous assassin, Copperhead. At this point, it's revealed that the Joker is the main villain of the game, and I didn't have a problem with that this time, because there's plenty of other boss fights, and there's basically like, the assassins to me are the main villains of the game. And to go along with that, Copperhead is a character in DC Comics who uses snake venom. I'm not sure if they have snake powers or they make their own venom, but they definitely either look like a snake or have a snake outfit.
Well, I don't know. The only time I've ever seen Copperhead, other than this game, was in the Justice League animated show. And
Really lame.
yeah, like he wears a snake outfit, but he does actually have like powers. Like he like has like venomous bite and stuff. And I think this Copperhead worked the same way.
Right. I do like the Copperhead fight. It was kind of like this game's Scarecrow sequence.
Yeah, kind of. I actually really liked that Copperhead was in this game. I remember like when the game was announced, Copperhead was first shown. It was like it's a female, which I think Copperhead, again, from the one interpretation I've seen, was a male character. So I thought that was really cool. And I just thought like, oh man, this is a super out of the box character that like, I didn't even necessarily ever identify Copperhead as a Batman villain.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like she was like kind of one of those love it or hate it, because I remember like initially a lot of people were like not happy with her inclusion, felt like just didn't belong in the Arkham verse.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I think that thinking outside the box, changing things up, that's not a bad idea. And let's be honest, I honestly believe that it was a step up.
Yeah, I mean, my only complaint about Copperhead in the game is that she's not in the game that long. Like, you have this one fight with her, and then that's it.
Yeah, that can be said for all the assassins, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of them are bigger, but I thought that she was, yeah, I wish that she was in the game more because I think the reverse gender Copperhead, which a character that already I don't know a lot about. I was just super interested because I was like, oh, cool, like maybe I'll get to learn more about Copperhead and stuff. That's awesome. But then you fight her and then that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so then Batman tracks the Joker to the Gotham Royal Hotel and discovers that the villain and his men have filled the hotel with explosives, murdered the staff, and taken the guests hostage. Joker berates the assassins for their failure to kill Batman, throwing the electrocutioner out a window to his death. Batman recovers his electric gloves and uses those for the rest of the game.
I was gonna say that's my favorite addition in this game, and they didn't even bring it into night. I thought they might.
What, the electric gloves?
Yeah, I thought the electric gloves are a good idea.
I did not think they would because I feel like Rocksteady didn't really want to associate with this game too much.
That's fair. I mean, whether or not it was, I think it was a quality game, but whether or not that is true, it was not publicly received as well as the other two.
And I also feel like Rocksteady, once again, pure speculation, I feel like they probably weren't happy with like this other developer kind of getting in on their success and their, game and stuff.
Oh, 100%. But
Yeah.
that's a tough thing about working on licensed games. It's not your work.
Yeah. So then all the assassins leave except for Bane, who thinks that Batman is coming for the Joker. After traversing the building, Batman finds the Joker on the roof, but is forced to battle Bane. Thinking Batman is outmatched, Alfred alerts the police so they will intervene. As Bane escapes by helicopter, he fires a rocket at the Joker, who is thrown from the hotel by the concussive force. Batman saves the Joker, leaving him with the police. Puzzled by the events, the Joker is imprisoned in Blackgate under the care of Dr. Harleen Quinzel. He tells Quinzel that he and Batman were destined to meet.
I guess throwing in Harley's introduction is great. I would say that the Arkham series might have a good hand in Harley's current popularity as a character.
I don't know. I feel like Harley was just always a popular character. People have always loved Harley.
Well, that's true. She had her first live action appearance in Suicide Squad, right?
Yep.
Before that, what was her big thing was she got her own comic series. That was what, New 52 or Rebirth?
New 52 was Harley's first.
So then that was like 2010, 2011 or so.
Yeah, I think New 52 started in 2011, 2012.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, maybe you're right, because the animated series ended what?
I mean, maybe the early 2000s? It might have entirely been in the 90s.
I guess she's always been popular then.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Injustice. I was shocked by that.
Yeah, I think I wasn't shocked. Like I said, I think I just like, to me, it's like I definitely like she has 100% increased in popularity ever since I guess I would say Arkham. Like, I don't think Arkham Asylum is what instigated it, but that's just the first time that I can remember myself being like, man, people really like Harley Quinn.
I'm not saying it instigated. I'm saying it had a heavy hand.
No, I think it definitely had a hand. But yeah, I think she's definitely a character that has only increased in popularity as the years have gone on. And anyway, in the Batcave, Alfred begs Batman to abandon his crusade, fearing he will die, but Batman refuses. Batman learns that Bane has deduced his true identity as Bruce Wayne. Then, Firefly, one of the assassins, attacks the Pioneer Bridge, forcing Batman and Gordon to work together to incapacitate him and deactivate bombs on the bridge.
Can I butt in?
Yeah.
Two things. So I was watching Batman Hush the other day, and in that, Alfred is begging Batman to abandon his crusade. And I just don't like when Alfred is begging Batman to abandon his crusade. It's done. He just does that all the time. But that I get it. Alfred needs to be a caring man. That's who Alfred is.
Well, I
Like
think. Well, I mean, I think it's a typical thing they have. Kind of like in the early Batman uh storylines. Like Alfred is always, initially
that's true. It is
against it.
traditional. But there's another version of Alfred, which is like a newer version where he's like an ex secret agent type person, and he is capable of more stuff. He's a little bit younger, and I want to try that Alfred out a little bit more rather than the one who's just the frail butler who is in ever loving service of the Waynes.
Yep. Yeah, I think New 52 might have been the earliest I've seen that.
Right. Anywho, the other thing was Firefly again. He just causes chaos and doesn't seem to have a goal of like killing Batman and getting the money, or he just doesn't strike as an assassin.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Anyway, well, that's good. I don't I have nothing to say about Firefly. It was a very like most of the assassins in the game, I mean pretty much all of them with the exception of Bane are like, one and done. They appear, you fight them, you beat them and they're gone, Which would be like it's something that I mean, it
Right,
wasn't
I'm just confused because they use the word assassin. Assassins, the word fits for some of the characters on the list, like Lady Shiva is an assassin, Copperhead is an assassin for sure, Bane maybe, but Firefly, no. The
Yeah.
Electrocutioner,
I mean, I feel like I feel like they use the term assassin loosely. Very loosely.
yeah, but I'm just, at the beginning he's like, I have 8 assassins. It should be like, I have 4 assassins and 3 people coming after you. 1 arson, 2 monsters. That's about
Yeah.
it.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
confusing story-wise. It could
Yeah,
have been done really, really well.
I'm
Because
just
like when they
trying.
first introduced the concept, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And I mean, like we didn't even talk about the collector's edition stuff.
I'm just trying to get through the story here, man.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Anyway, meanwhile, so Batman's stopping Firefly. Bane breaks into the Batcave and nearly kills Alfred. Batman finds the cave in ruins and Alfred dying, but he is able to revive him with the electrocutioner's gloves. Elsewhere, the Joker has taken over Blackgate after inciting a riot. Realizing he needs allies, Batman works with Gordon and the police to retake the prison. Sitting at the electric chair, the Joker offers Batman a choice: kill Bane or allow Bane's heartbeat to charge the chair and kill the Joker. Batman uses the electric gloves to stop Bane's heart, and satisfied, the Joker leaves, intending to detonate bombs placed around the city. Batman revives Bane, who injects himself with a steroid that transforms him into a hulking beast. He loses the ensuing battle to Batman and suffers amnesia as a side effect from the steroid, thus preserving Batman's secret identity. With Gordon's help, Batman locates the Joker in the prison chapel, and dismayed that Bane is still alive, Joker tries to goad Batman into killing him, but Batman subdues him instead. Gordon chooses not to pursue Batman, believing he can help the city. And then, in a radio interview during the credits, Quincy Sharp says he will lobby to reopen Arkham Asylum to house the city's worst criminals, because having been broken into twice in the same night, doesn't really trust Blackgate anymore. After the credits, an imprisoned Deathstroke is approached by Amanda Waller to join her Suicide Squad, which is a tease that went nowhere. And that's the story.
Yeah, I mean that could come around in the Suicide Squad game.
Oh, it's not even the same developer.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But I mean they could still do a throwaway line like a a
Yeah, no, they
call
could.
out to it.
Yep.
And I would think that was funny.
No, there are certainly ups and downs with the story here. I will say one of my favorite things about the game is, and one of my biggest complaints about Arkham Asylum and Arkham, I guess Arkham City to a lesser extent, is in this game, Bane is smart. And in the comics, Bane is smart, but in most like animated stuff you see him in games, he's usually portrayed as being, just like a stupid guy with the venom, the strength.
Yeah, that's true. When I was watching Batman Hush, in that I think Batman fights Bane at one point and he's like talking like Solomon Grundy, and I was like, oh no, they did that, Bane. And then Batman was like, or Nightwing or whoever is like, isn't Bane a little more uh talkative than this usually? I was like, oh okay, thank God. They were like, oh yeah, he's just really fucked up on Venom right now.
Yeah, it's certainly like it's yeah, like because I mean, growing up, I always thought Bane was just stupid Venom guy. Um,
That's true, but I would
and
like a story where Bane loses his intelligence as he uses Venom.
I don't know, like I know, like I just really enjoyed. It wasn't until like reading Nightfall that it was like, oh, Bane's actually really smart, and Bane is like one of the few villains who just straight up deduced Batman's identity. And I'm glad, like initially when I played Arkham Asylum, I didn't know that there was a smart Bane, so I didn't have a problem with it. But it's like playing this game, it was so nice to be like, oh man, this is Bane. This is what he's like. He's got like I definitely think he's always been like kind of quick to anger, and his anger can make him do stupid things. But that's a very human trait, not like out of the blue kind of thing. And I think that does happen here when he uses the steroid to go like super strong and then becomes just like a monster. But it's really cool to see them actually do the smart Bane character, and he does figure out Batman's identity and he attacks the Batcave. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. I respect that they reference Nightfall.
And yeah, that's I don't know. I don't think like I enjoyed the story. I enjoy like I really did enjoy Joker and his kind of like when at the end of like the hotel part when Batman rescues Joker and like he's being arrested, the guy's like, "Oh, we're gonna find your partner or whatever," and Joker's like, "Partner," and cops like, "Oh, who else would jump out of a building to save your sorry ass?" And Joker's like, I was wondering the same thing, and
Right,
I
it's
love,
really cool. Like the
yeah,
writing there is good.
like I love, this game does it, and it's kind of like the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight movie does it of like when Joker first finds Batman and he's like, man, you have like this code of like always saving people, and it's stupid, and he does like everything he can to get Batman to break his rule and kill someone, typically him. And I really like when that story is told, because obviously it's been like Joker trying to push Batman to his limits is like the main purpose behind every like huge Batman Joker story. And yeah, I just always love that story, and I think this one did it very well.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, the story, I guess, if you want to know, we'll move on to the gameplay.
Whoop whoop.
You want to talk about combat?
All right. All right. So in combat, it's like any other Arkham game. There's the use of physical strikes and gadgets to weave combos and beat up groups. Usually started in Arkham Asylum, and it's just been continuously improved in the Arkham series and a couple of other games. But that's off the books, of course. Do you remember what was new in this game? God. Oh, the electric gloves. They were new.
Well, if
Yeah,
you look,
okay, yeah, I
what
see it
yeah.
there. I meant like, was there a new combat move or something, or a new enemy?
I mean,
Maybe?
honestly, not that I can remember. There's nothing I
Yeah,
could
there's
really.
definitely a new enemy, but I can't remember. But so the traversal is the same as Arkham City and Asylum. You're grappling and gliding around the city to get wherever, and it's never a problem. I mean, you can get from point A to point B on the map,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
minutes.
yeah. No, I mean, like, I feel like it's especially in terms of combat and traversal, because that is, basically what Arkham Asylum is. Not
Mhm.
Arkham City. I mean, like, they used just the same engine from Arkham City, so it's like obviously like really hard to screw it up, and luckily they didn't. It's like I said, there's not much they added to it, but at the same time, it's like when you have the almost perfect combat and traversal system for a Batman game, why change it, you know? Like unless you can improve it. And here I'm glad they like didn't just throw stuff at the wall hoping something stuck for the sake of adding something new.
Right,
They
add
did
a
like
bat plane and a bat
yeah,
boat, and
yeah.
it is the first and only, I'm pretty sure, Arkham game to have fast travel. The
Yes.
map was large enough, and I did use it, although it did take a long time to load.
Yeah, it was not great for loading. Yeah, no, the fast travel was nice. And I do think it was necessary because the map was so big. Like there are, even times playing through Arkham City just because I played that game so much where uh I would eventually just be like, okay, now I gotta travel all the way to the other side of the map for this mission, then I gotta travel all the way back for this mission. It uh is a little in Arkham City it's not a problem because the map is not too big. In Arkham Origins, without the use of a fast travel, I would say it would be a problem because the map is, I think, too big to just get around everywhere. Because while like the grapnel and gliding is certainly like I wouldn't call it slow, it's not like as fast as say like Spider-Man's web swinging. So it would be a little more tedious to have to do.
Right, that makes sense.
I do want to talk about the gadgets in a little more detail, I guess. Just because this is one of my complaints about the game. Is so you have the returning gadgets like the batarang, the remote control batarang, the sonic batarang, the smoke bomb, all that stuff. You have my biggest complaints here, in terms of let's first look at I guess the new gadgets. You have the glue grenade, and then returning you have the explosive gel and the disruptor. And these are the three gadgets that really just kind of annoy me because as a prequel game, and really anytime there's anything that's a prequel, you have to like having like say the glue grenade or the or as it is at Arkham City, the freeze grenade return, that like kind of using it to make platforms and water stuff like that, having that aspect of gameplay return, but obviously it can't be a freeze grenade because literally Batman like makes it is given it by freeze in Arkham City. So it's like, well, you can't have a freeze grenade. So then they're like, oh, okay, well, let's make the same thing but slightly different, and that's what the glue grenade is. I think that's dumb. I don't like that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
Like that's one
but
of the
the
things.
disruptor is straight up like they didn't even change that, right?
Yeah, no, the disruptor and explosive gel, like in Arkham Asylum, it's in the trunk of the Batmobile, and I feel like they mention like Batman and Alfred mention it being new or like not like hasn't been used in the field yet or something like that. But I can't remember 100%, so I don't necessarily place this in that same thing. But the disruptor as well, it's like an upgrade that Batman has and he gets in this city. He doesn't have it in Asylum, and it's like, okay, well, he didn't, like, I guess he just didn't take him with him or something like that to Asylum. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's something like that is kind of weird to have in a prequel that isn't explained well story wise, I suppose.
Right.
And then it even applies the same with like the glue grenade of, oh well, why didn't he have the glue grenade in like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum? And it's always like you could say, oh well, in both situations he was in an area unprepared and stuff, so he wouldn't have everything with him. But I feel like something is like needed as a disruptor in Batman's career field. I feel like, well, why would that not be something he always has on him? But then he always like in City when he gets arrested and Alfred delivers the suit, it's like, oh, he delivers the explosive gel, but he wouldn't deliver like in a city that's flooded with water. He wouldn't deliver something like the glue grenade that would be very useful with water. It's those things of like, I get the need to add stuff because it's a sequel, you have to add stuff. Or I mean, even in terms of the glue grenade, it's just like a returning thing. But it's something that it definitely takes me out of it a bit when things like that happen, which is why I'm always hesitant for like prequel games.
It is hard.
But yeah, that's just the gadgets are silly, but I mean they're for the most part it's the same gadgets and they all work fine. It's I mean there's it's Batman. So then let's talk about the collectibles. I guess kind of you have what are the comm towers and network relays. You have to hack a comm tower to be able to fast travel to each section of the map. And then the network relays are like, they're like, like the Riddler challenges, they're like just the destructible. There's 10 in every section of the map that unlock after you hack the tower, and you have to destroy those as well. They're just kind of there. The big one I want to talk about, the Enigma data packs, glowing green boxes containing blackmail data for high power figures throughout the city. There are 200 of them in the game, and it's another one of those silly things of like Riddler doesn't exist, but then here he is before he's Riddler as Enigma, and he's got these data packs. Like it to me is one of those other things that's kind of silly. That like I get you have to have that Riddler kind of collectible, but why not just instead of it being Enigma, make him the first appearance of the Riddler, or even have someone else maybe have collectibles,
Right, exactly.
Yeah, another one of those silly things that anytime he talked, I just like shake my head like, this is just silly. You also have the anarchy tags, which are kind of like, I guess, this game's version of the riddles that are in Asylum and City, that like the question marks that you can only see in detective vision, because these are only visible in detective vision. But it's part of a side mission, with Anarchy and his little thing. Yeah, so Noah, you want to talk about side missions?
Yeah, the side missions, you have Anarchy Bombs, Penguin Weapon Caches, Black Mask Drug Stashes, Mad Hatter, Shiva, Deadshot, Bird, Escape Prisoners.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, the bombs, weapon caches, and drug stashes, they're basically like in previous Arkham games, where like the specifically like in Arkham City, there's like the Titan stashes that you find for Bane and you destroy them. They're basically like that, just like a number hidden around that you got to find and destroy or do whatever with. And then the most wanted are like, like the one-off side missions where you fight certain characters. Specifically, there's Mad Hatter, Shiva, Deadshot are the big three villains. This was something that I was kind of annoyed about with Shiva, Deadshot, of like, they're 8 assassins, kind of an integral part of the story, but you can beat the game without ever discovering them or fighting them.
Right, exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
Like,
Also, their fights are easy.
I mean, Shiva especially, like, you have to find just a random like stroller that's by itself with a like that you hear crying coming from to instigate her mission. And it's like it's not on the map. It's like I had to use a guide to find it, and it was like I think I had like beaten the game already initially, like the main story, or at least I was close, and like I was just scrolling through menus, and and I was like, oh my god, like I haven't fought Shiva yet. How the heck do you do that? And it's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's one of those, as well, kind of silly things, like the fact that like at the point I beat the story, like there is no bounty anymore. So why is Shiva fighting me? Because there's no way she doesn't know that.
Right.
Yeah. And then the escape prisoners, you just find groups of escape prisoners from Blackgate. Bird is like a little side mission story. He's like a lieutenant for Bane, I think. Yeah, not the best side missions in this one.
No, but I do like the Mad Hatter.
Oh no, the Mad Hatter is always fun. His mission is always fun. Yeah, and then I think maybe the biggest added thing they had in this one was the Dark Knight system. No, do you remember the Dark Knight system?
Not very well. I was reading it, and I'm confused. Is it all like in the game?
Yeah, so basically there are 4 sets of challenges, each have 15 levels that get you XP and other bonuses as you complete them. They're kind of like, I guess they're like free roaming challenges. Split into 4 groups. You have the world's greatest detective, which is just for completing a percentage of the database, which you complete that by like finding collectibles, beating villains, side missions, stuff like that. Basically like game completion. And basically it's just continuous, like every arbitrary percentage gets you a level of that. And then at 66%, that is the highest level. Kind of weird to me that the highest level is so low in percentage compared like in terms of what the game is. I feel like, don't make it 100% because that's a little excessive, but at least high, like maybe 80% or something like that. I just feel like 66% is a little low.
I don't think it matters.
I don't know. It's just whatever. So then there is Shadow Vigilante, which is a bunch of just combat challenges like, use these specific gadgets in one combat encounter, or reach like a combo of this in a combat encounter and stuff. And you do have like one thing that does kind of suck about challenges, you do have to unlock them in order. So like if there's like get a combo of 50, then you can't just get a combo of 50. You have to beat every challenge before it and then get the combo of 50. Whatever. There's Gotham Protector, which bunch of like miscellaneous free roam challenges. Like there are several involved around gliding. And then there's like stop. They have like crimes in progress. So you have to stop a certain number of crimes in progress. Like one in every district is, I think, the highest level challenge in Gotham Protector. And then there's Worst Nightmare, which are predator challenges, such as using specific takedowns and not being seen. This one is so the Dark Knight system is something that it's kind of like the physical challenges, the physical Riddler challenges in Arkham City, because there are those. It's kind of like those, but I would say like pushed to the extreme a bit, because there's also like the what's it called, like the do a combo with all of Batman's combat moves from Arkham Asylum and City does appear in this game, sort of, as it's the last challenge for like the Shadow Vigilante track. I don't know, like I liked these in theory, but playing through the game, they were actually very annoying.
I actually liked them. I had some trouble with ones that were like really specific and you could only get them at specific instances in the game.
Yeah. Well, it's like this is like kind of where my biggest complaint of this is, specifically like, yeah, some of the challenges are just kind of broken a bit. Some were broken in my favor and I didn't complain. But like my biggest complaint really is like the Worst Nightmare challenges, which are the Predator challenges, because there are certain, Predator maps and challenges in encounters, like a certain number of encounters in the game. And like there are some challenges where it's like you have to use a vent takedown, a ledge takedown, hanging takedown, and a like whatever takedown all in one encounter. But then there's only one stealth map where that happens in the entire story, and if you don't get it, then oh well, you can't come back. Like when you come back here later, there aren't going to be people to take down, so you have to get it at this one point. So very annoying with how limiting that is. And obviously your challenge completion carries over to New Game Plus. But I don't know if it, like, if you beat New Game Plus and then play New Game Plus again, I don't know if it then continues to carry on. So like that track especially is just very kind of annoying. Especially for me, like when I was playing through this game and I was going through on New Game Plus, like I never beat New Game Plus because I got stuck on this one combat encounter, Predator encounter, because there was like, I was stuck on level like 6 or something, but there was one challenge I had later on the line that was like, you can only do it in this one room, this one time. So make sure you get to this challenge before you get to that one. And I was on like, you have to complete an entire stealth Predator room without using takedowns or something like that. And it's like, I did it over and over and over again. And no matter what, it never unlocked for me. And that's eventually what made me like quit playing this game entirely, was like, I just could not get that thing to unlock. And it was just really, really annoying.
That is upsetting.
So yeah, like in theory, I thought they were cool and I was excited to do them, but it was glitched. It didn't work. And in the end, it's kind of what ruined the game for me.
That's a New Game Plus after a whole playthrough.
Well, I meant like in terms of completion. No, I like completing games. Anyway, you've also got just, typical challenges in all the Arkham games, combat challenges, the stealth challenges. This one did have like a separate group of challenges called combat training, which were just, small challenges that tested new abilities as you unlocked them. Yeah, it's like instead of having tutorial encounters for kind of new stuff like that, or even like in Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, when you unlocked new abilities, you just had to figure it out as you're playing through the game. Here they did have little like combats challenges for new combat moves as you unlock them, like if you unlock like a quick fire gadget, anything like that. I did like that.
Yeah, sure, I don't mind tutorials.
Yeah. There's also real quick, this game had what was called I Am the Night mode, which was basically like a second New Game Plus mode, but with permadeath. And it was like, if you died, it straight up deleted your save. I never tried it because I never got that far because like I said, I quit during New Game Plus because of that challenge not working.
Yeah, I never tried. I didn't even play New Game Plus.
I don't know. It was just like an interesting thing they added on, I suppose.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's like a group of people who like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, Noah, why don't you talk about multiplayer?
Batman Arkham Origins introduces a multiplayer component to the series. Invisible Predator Online revolves around a gang war in Blackgate Prison between supervillains Joker and Bane. Three Joker gang members fight three Bane gang members, and in turn, the team of Batman and Robin. Gangs win by killing all the opposing team's reinforcements, while Batman and Robin win by acquiring intimidation points from eliminating gang members. A gang member can become a boss, either Joker or Bane, gaining more powerful abilities. They can also access guns and explosives. Excuse me. Batman and Robin can access gadgets and abilities from the main game, including detective vision. Gang members have a limited enhanced version, which requires recharging over time. Hunter Hunted sets 3 Joker thugs and 3 Bane thugs against Batman in a last team standing match in which each character has 1 life. The online for this game was not very well received and it was not played very often. Mechanically, it was lacking. The idea was there, and I personally really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think like for once again something that I am sure was absolutely once again speculation forced onto WB Games Montreal of adding an online mode that I'm sure they did not want to do. I think it turned out fine. It turned out well. Like this is it's another one of those things of like I don't get the hate that it gets the online mode. Like obviously like it's not the best online gaming experience in the world, but it's like, it's something that's just added on to an already fine game and it's not bad. So like it's you're getting some extra for nothing pretty much. So why not, just if you don't enjoy it, don't play it. But it like for having to fit multiplayer into a Batman game, I think they did probably as well as they could.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and like I remember, this is a few months ago. Something annoying. I was reading, like gaming. I'm gonna say it was like an op-ed, like an opinion thing, like on. It was a gaming news, quote unquote news, site that I don't really have a lot of respect for, um, especially when it comes to just opinions on things. But they were doing a list of games that like are coming out in the future that could potentially suck. And in that list was Gotham Knights. And the person who wrote it was like, "Oh, WB Games Montreal who made like the Batman Arkham Origins multiplayer and like, and everybody wants to forget about that or something like that." Just talking about how bad that multiplayer was and how like, so the idea of them making another multiplayer mode specific Batman game is a scary thought or like, whatever. And I remember reading that and I was like, well, okay, first off, this multiplayer and that multiplayer are two very different things, nothing alike. Like they made a third person shooter PvP and this is just Arkham with two people at once. Like I fail to see how you can compare those two things like they would be similar unless like the servers were bad, but I never heard complaints about that.
Right.
And two, the online mode wasn't that bad.
True.
Like, yeah, it was just something of I'm like, I understand why it gets the hate it does, just because of the fact that it is multiplayer in an Arkham game that nobody wanted and nothing. But like it gets all this hatred for nothing to do with the actual game mode itself. It's like one of those things that it's just like fun to hate on by like, you know, a lot of people that I'm sure if you ask most of these people that like hate on it, like they either did not play it or did not play it a lot.
I bet you're right.
But yeah, like I don't know, it was fine. Like, was it the best multiplayer experience I ever had in a game? No, but was I hating it while I was playing it? No, I was entertained and then I moved on. Anyway, let's move on. Notable trophies. This game had all my trophies. Not good. I did not attempt to get the platinum because of that. It's a shame.
You can't play any game that has online trophies.
I'll play them. I just won't try. I mean, I will look at the online trophies depending on what they are, because there are some where the online trophies are not bad. Titanfall 2 being a good example. Like really there was only one online trophy that actually required you playing online. The other three you could do in just a lobby. And you had to win one match. And that's it. That's all they required you to do to get the platinum trophy in that game. And I'm fine with that. Like, I still don't like online trophies for the sake of servers can be turned off. And I think it's like you're just, putting like you're locking people out of potentially getting completion in a game forever, which I just don't like.
Rip to Mad Max.
But yeah, it's like in this one there were like enough that I was like, man, I don't want to do that. Anyway, but no ones. First Riddler trophy. Collect every collectible. Once you get all like the Enigma data packs, you end up kind of like really the previous Arkham games. Like you track down his location. You go there, but it's like he's not there. It might have even been like a fake location that he had let Batman find. I don't remember. But in it is a single Riddler trophy, and you can collect it. And that's like it's the first Riddler trophy ever made. As much as I did not like the whole Enigma aspect, I thought that was cool. Like finding the first Riddler trophy.
I did like that too.
I did. Like you just go in like a room, it's dark, and there's just this one trophy on a stand, and I thought that was cool.
You just see it and you're like, oh shit.
One of each. Use every free flow gadget in one combo. This is the closest to the perfect combo trophy in this game. It's not, you don't have to do all the physical moves. You specifically just have to use every gadget. So a lot easier to do, especially because like if you go into a fight with like 5 people and you only use your gadgets, you can do it very easily because gadgets don't take people down as fast as like punches do. So yeah, but it's still there. It still was in every game. And then I Am the Night, finish I Am the Night mode. Just I think finishing any game with permadeath is difficult. I do think a Batman Arkham game is certainly a easier, at least in terms of how much I played Arkham, a game that I imagine I could feasibly do it.
I was gonna say I imagine I could do it as well, but then I think about like the platforming falls. Those kind of where you have like mechanical issues.
I have to think that those don't count as a death in this game because usually, like it slows down and Batman saves himself from falling with a bat claw. I have to imagine that doesn't count.
Okay.
If that does
you're
count,
right about that.
If that does count, then I'd absolutely be screwed. But I do think I imagine that is not an aspect of it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I could do it, especially because like if it's not like difficulty locked.
No, I mean I think you could probably do it on easy or whatever. But obviously like you take more damage and stuff. But I mean even thinking back now, I can't remember the last time I died in an Arkham game. Like I don't play them on the hardest difficulty. I'll usually play through them on normal. But even then, like I can't remember the last time I straight up just lost a fight in an Arkham game.
No, the only time I ever die is when I'm doing the challenges.
Oh yeah, no, those are harder. In terms of Easter egg references, there are just a lot of DC references in this game, like every other Arkham game.
Yep, that's just how they go.
Yeah,
they're all really cool though.
All right, so now we're getting to our questions. Favorite moments, Noah?
I liked the last boss fight, well, quote unquote boss fight with Bane, where he's hulked out and Batman stops his heart and then revives him again. It was just a really interesting way for Batman to win, even with the Joker doing his best to make Batman kill.
Yeah, I get you. Mine, the Batman Joker moments, like anytime they're kind of having any sort of conversation. Like when Batman first rescues the Joker from falling, like they're like Batman, like takes the brunt of the fall, so he's kind of down, and like two Joker guys surround him. Joker points a gun at him, and he just like kills the two henchmen. And like their last conversation, like in Blackgate, when like Joker thinks he killed Bane, but then it's revealed that he didn't, and that whole interaction, like it's just really really cool moments. Favorite boss battle?
My favorite boss battle is I'm gonna say Copperhead because I like the trippy boss fights in the Arkham series. Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, and I thought that Batman like he did appear to be on the ropes, seemed to be on the brink of death, and I was stressed.
Yeah, I think it was a cool fight. Mine was kind of two-parter, but Electrocutioner, very funny boss fight.
Yeah, it is funny. I get it because Batman knocks the electrocutioner out in one hit, and that's it.
Yeah,
And it was a great introduction to how the game was gonna go.
yeah, wow. No, I liked it. As well because I don't like you had started the game before I did, so you were already like a bit of the way through it when I started. And I remember you like were talking about how awesome the electrocutioner fight was and how fun it was. And so when I like got to that moment, it was just so much more funny to me.
That is so funny. You believed it.
But yeah, because
You're like,
he was
oh
like,
shit. They did hype him up. They're like, all right, it's the electrocutioner. You're like, I've got to beat him and take his gloves.
yeah, um, yeah. Then Deathstroke, I think it was a really cool fight. I love it. Like was huge on countering. Like he'd be swinging at you with a sword, and you had to counter him, and it was I don't know. It was just a really fun fight. I really enjoyed it.
That's true. I hoped it was a longer, a bit more technical, like it was still like every time Deathstroke appears in the Arkham games, it seems lackluster for him.
Well, this was definitely not his most lackluster.
No, absolutely not. And this is the only game that Deathstroke is playable in.
That is true. Yeah. Um. What we didn't like about the game.
I did not like the side missions.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I did not like the inclusion of Edward Nigma before he's the Riddler.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, like you said, my biggest thing was like the gadgets, and then the villain kind of rehashes. Like, I think it, like that's it. It was like just things that kind of took me out of it. I did like, uh, actually, in terms of like villains, I loved Killer Croc. He looked, obviously different than he does in Arkham. But we got the collector's edition of this
He
game.
looks different in every game.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say, we got the collector's edition of this game. Very fun game. A very cool collector's edition. It came with the cool statue of the Joker in front of a bunch of TVs and stuff. It lights up. It came with batteries. I love how it came with like a thing in a package that said "Do not open until after the game" because of spoilers. And inside that package was a secondary head with a black mask that you could take off Joker's head and put that one on because it's like, oh, it was him the whole time. But it also came with like an art book and stuff. It came with files on all of the assassins. I just loved how like in Killer Crocs it talked about his mutation, and it talked about how his mutation is always changing his body, and it said something in like this little summary that like, oh, like in 10 years he could look completely different than he does now, or like he'll probably look completely different than he does now. And I remember reading that and being like, ha, it's funny because he does.
Yeah, that collector's edition was awesome. Probably my favorite collector's edition of all time, actually.
It's certainly up there. It was a really cool collector's edition.
Anywho, that's Arkham Origins.
Yeah, it's oh no, wait, we're not done. We gotta talk about the DLC. DLC story, Cold Heart. For the summary of that, it's just like the Mr. Freeze origin story.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is story wise. And it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was like Mr. Freeze's origin story. I think it was created in the animated series. It might have been a comic first, but I know like it wasn't always his origin story. But I think he has one of the best origin stories of any comic book villain. Or I would even say just any comic book character. And like it's always fun to watch anytime there's a new interpretation of it. And it was so fun like being able to play it and like actually play through like and how like it's very very similar to the animated series, and yeah, it was really cool, just to see it.
You're 100% right. I completely agree about Mr. Freeze's backstory. I was thinking about the other day, like when I'm at work, I'll just like think about making up different stories, like things to write, random things like that. And I was thinking about Mr. Freeze and his situation, where his wife has a sickness and he cryogenically freezes her in order to find a cure. Like that is a really good start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, but there are different nuances in the different Mister Freeze stories. Like what kind of sickness Nora has, and um what kind of criminal Mister Freeze is. Basically, usually when he's new like this, it's mostly him like stealing things, not really trying to hurt people. And that's what I like about Mister Freeze.
But no, I just always like his, it's like it always starts like he starts off super bad in Batman's eyes, I guess, because especially because he's always doing like what's the word, like he's getting revenge. He's trying to get revenge for how he was wronged and how he ended up in the state he was, and it's just, I mean, he's such a hard villain to hate because he's like very much like very very humanized person, because it's like, what would you do if this happened to you? I feel like a lot of people would do very similar things.
Right.
Anyway, no, that's I mean that's DLC. It's very fun. And that's Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely I think it's a good Batman Arkham game. There's not much I have to complain about it. There are honestly tidbits here and there, and I think it offers everything that any other Arkham game has to offer, if not more. Now let's talk about the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Today we are talking about Stick It to the Man. So, it's been a while since I played Stick It to the Man, so the exact story synopsis I might have some trouble with. Did you replay it?
Yes, I did.
I thought you might. Do you want to do the story?
Uh, yeah, sure. I'll just talk about it because I did replay it for this episode. Um, so basically, you're playing as Ray, who's just he's a hard hat tester. Basically, on his way home from work, he gets hit in the head, ends up with this like alien living inside of his head that causes this hand to come out of his head, this like spectral looking hand. And with it, he can read minds and like change the environment around him. But the reading minds is the big thing. So basically, going through the game, it's like a puzzle platformer. You platform, you have to like, you read people's minds to figure out kind of what they need to find solutions to puzzles. You find those like, they're kind of like I mean, there are stickers, but like, you find the stickers that maybe match. Like, you could take them from people's thoughts, you can take them from the environment, and you put the stickers where they need to go to kind of make everyone in an area happy, which then allows you to move on to the next area.
Oh yeah, so that's pretty much the game. Do I like it? I love this game. This game is so funny. It's so clever. It's easy. It's not too long. It's really cool looking. The voice acting is great. The writing is good. The music is great. The only thing I had a serious issue when I first downloaded this game, I've tried to play this game like 5 times before I played it successfully. Every time I downloaded it and deleted it and re-downloaded it, I would not be able to read people's thoughts. Like the hand would go to their head, but no thoughts would pop up. And I looked it up and it was just broken. It was just a thing. And I just kept retrying it. One day it worked and I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I stuck with it because Jaden really liked the game and I saw him playing it a couple times, so I knew it had potential.
Yeah, I really did love this game. I like initially played through it just because there were so few games on PS4. It was one of the first, PS Plus games, and there were just so few games on it that it was like, well, like we bought this PS4, I'm gonna play this game. So like one, I think you talked about the music. I do love the music, and this game like has one of the most like kick-ass main screen songs ever. Like it's not a song that was written for the game. It's just it's just a Kenny Rogers song. But man, like I downloaded that song on my iPod because I just love that song so much.
There's so many things wrong with that.
Dude, I love that song. Oh my god. Like I love like when I
Who
replayed
sits
this
in the
game.
main menu is my first thing. Who's in the main menu long enough to hear the soundtrack?
Well, it's just the one song, like it just plays on repeat. But I know it was just like there was time like I booted up the game because I was gonna play it, and then I started doing something and just it loaded up on the background and started playing. But man, this song's awesome. I loved it. And then it was awesome to rediscover it when I was replaying through this game because I hadn't heard the song in years. But not yeah. But then I also love the art style of the game, like all of the like paper crafts, like all the bill, like everything is paper. The roads are like cardboard looking, the people are paper, and like their head is disconnected at the mouth, so when they talk, like the top part of their head is just floating in the air. You like I said, like the game, like the stickers are actual stickers, and like you can find like loose paper on buildings and like rip off the front of a building and see inside of it, kind of different things like that. Um, it's really cool how it works with like the left stick controls your character, the right stick controls the hand. You move the hand around and you can like grab onto things, read people's minds. The writing is very good, like you said. This game definitely makes like it pokes fun at a lot of things, and I just at least once every mission was find myself laughing out loud at some sort of joke that was made. I do also like the game also does get pretty like crazy, I guess, with some of the jokes. Like at one point, as literally part of solving a puzzle in like the second to last chapter of the game, you literally take a fetus from a woman's belly and put it in a man's belly, and there's just a pregnant man now. Like
That does happen.
insane. Yeah, I played the
But they
game
brush
again.
past that really fast.
Oh yeah, no, it's literally just like part of like this scene in this puzzle, and then you just move on. Like it's such a nothing moment, and just that just also just adds to just the comedic effect of it to me. But yeah, I played through it again. I got all the trophies because I didn't do that initially, and like it's fun. It's like I would say, I guess if you're someone who wants to complete it, the trophy that you need to do pretty much to complete it is just read every single mind in the game, which is not something that's hard to do because it's not hard to find. Like I didn't have to use a guide for it or anything. It's something that like I wanted to do because there were just so many like because it was just always so fun and so funny to hear all these different thoughts and stuff. And yeah, I mean it's just like it was a fun game. I really enjoyed it. And like you said, it's not too long. Like the game is like 10 chapters, and once you get a handle of kind of what the game wants you to do in terms of solving puzzles and stuff, like you could absolutely beat this game in like less than 2 hours.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All in all, great game.
Great game. So, Noah, talk about our next indie bit. It's my turn to pick, and I've decided that you are going to play through Hitman Go Definitive Edition.
Okay, I'm not. Wait, does that mean I have to play the DLC?
I don't think there is DLC. It's just called the Definitive Edition.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that. I'll play that for sure. I'll make the next one Laura Croft go.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. I would love to talk about it just when we record the next episode to go into detail about my experience with it. But no, it's a cool game. For anyone who knows, it's sort of a Hitman game. If you know the Hitman games, you're kind of looking at that kind of thing. But it's definitely very different. And I like you will either hate it or love it, and I honestly don't know what it is, which one it'll be.
Yeah, well, I've seen it played, so we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, Noah, thought we should talk about a few things. One, last episode was our 20th episode of the podcast.
Yay!
Yeah, I did want to talk about it on that episode, but then completely forgot. But yeah, so this is our 21st episode. So that's cool. We're still doing it. You know, a lot has changed since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You do, and I have a fuller beard, and that's it. But as well, we've also we reached 400 total downloads according to Buzzsprout.
That's wait, Buzzsprout?
That's our podcast host.
It sounds like BuzzFeed.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with BuzzFeed, I'm pretty sure.
Cut
No,
all this.
we talked. Yeah, no, I will. We talked about. No, we
No,
talked
I'm
about.
just kidding.
Yeah, we so we had talked about when we hit 100 downloads and then 200, and I kept up with that because every like 50 or so, I believe every 50, I think, I would get like an email from Buzzsprout that's like, "Hey, congratulations, your podcast reached this many downloads. Hey, your podcast reached this many downloads." And we celebrated 100, 200. We did not celebrate 300 downloads because they just stopped updating. I stopped getting those emails. I guess they just stopped caring.
Maybe they do like another one at 500.
Maybe. But yeah. So I was like, there's no way we're not at 300 by now. Like I knew that. So I decided like just the other day that I would just count to see how much we're at, and we're at over 400. So go
What
us.
the fuck? You counted?
Well, like it keeps like a tally for each episode, and so I just got out my calculator and like added it up.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like I was like there's like a graph that I'm looking at and counting or something. But yeah, so yeah, we hit 400 downloads. Go us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, and I would honestly assume it's probably higher because I don't think Buzzsprout is the best at tracking that with all the different podcast services that our podcast is available on. So I assume it's definitely more than what they say it is, but I can't prove that. Anyway,
Like in a court of law.
yeah. Anyway, don't forget new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show, or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast, and follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.